All right, welcome back to SharpEdgeNews.com. Thank you so much for being here again. We appreciate you. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow so you're notified when we do go live. Help us get to 1,000 followers on YouTube, on Facebook. And without any further ado, please help me welcome the publisher, editor in chief of SharpEdgeNews.com, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ola. It's good to be back, and a profound appreciation to all our folks, fans everywhere. Uh, it's always with a sense of humility and appreciation that we say thank you for being part of what we do here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, again, please help us hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow so that we can keep bringing this. That's that's a way that you can help support the platform. We appreciate you for that. Without any further ado, let's get into this week's Sharp Edge News special report. Can you bring us up to speed what's happening around the world, sir?
Oh, most definitely. Again, I thank you. What we focusing on this week is an attempt at examining and bringing into sort of close up the Nigerian democracy project. The question to ask here tonight is whether the Nigerian journey concerning democracy is in decline already, if Nigeria is sinking into totalitarian situation, or if that state or the presidency there is becoming completely out of control and sinking into authoritarianism. Why do we ask? Certain economic and political reforms that have been introduced lately by the Ahmed Bola TINUBU's administration. The name of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a country of estimated population of about 230 million, the most populous black nation on the face of the earth. The other place where you can find something having a semblance of that is in terms of constellation, the gathering of black people population all over the world will be Brazil, in Brazil, Southern America. That's a country with a population of almost 250 million plus, and broken down the middle, 125 roughly will be black, and the 125 million will be white. So Nigeria leads the world in terms of concentration of black people's population, so to say. So the youth of the country are disenchanted with the neoliberal economic reforms being foisted on the country by the leaders who came into power by a contested and still being debated election that took place in 2023. And part of the rollback on that system in Nigeria touched off on the decision of the government of the day to remove subsidy on fuel. And you will remember that at the time, Nigeria was the sixth largest oil or petroleum producing nation in the world. Steadily, because of pilfering, because of bunkering, because of brazen theft and sabotage, the country lost its place. I mean, to countries like Libya and Angola, hitherto not prominent on the world map concerning oil production. So today, Nigeria struggles to meet its oil-producing nations allocated block, what is called OPEC quota. You know, OPEC is the oil-producing countries of the world, largely led by Saudi Arabia and other oil-producing nations. So Nigeria continues to slide back, and then the civil population of the country has questions from the leaders of the country that, okay, if Nigeria produces this all-important commodity and it has shot to the top as the mainstay of the economy of the country, why should Nigeria pay through the nose to have the benefits or to have access to their own sourced commodity? This time, petroleum products. So this is the contention. And because of the corruption that has dogged the regime of refined petroleum products importation in Nigeria, things like kerosene, aviation fuel, petrol, or what we call gas or gasoline in the US, diesel, and other range of petroleum products cannot be said to be within the reach of the average individual in Nigeria. And worse still, the middle class in Nigeria has been battered and eroded. Upon the inauguration of Mr. Bola Ahmed TINUBU as the president of the country last year, he touched off on the equivalent of the country's nuclear button by declaring that fuel subsidy was gone. At the moment he said that, the economy of the country cascaded into the abyss, and it has been in a free fall ever since.
Yeah.
And the country's currency continues to be on a steady slide against world's major means of exchange. Are you rating it against American dollar, British pound sterling, Japanese yen, and so on and so forth? Today, in Nigeria, the average individual earns less than $20 as minimum wage, and this minimum wage is not per hour. It is the total. It is the net of what goes into the pocket of the average civil servant, who is at the point of entry known as grade 1, level 1 in the Nigerian system. So the youth of the country are disenchanted, their parents also, and since the ruling party in Nigeria came into power, even education affordability up to tertiary institutions has become very, very difficult. So much rollback on everything. Is it access to medical care, talking of public transportation, affordability of essential commodities and goods, home appliances, and disgraceful degradation of public infrastructures. These are the issues Nigerians are contending with. And now the youth of the country, prominently led by Take It Back Group, Revolution Now, and so on and so forth, say like 26 amalgam of organizations are saying there must be an end to what is known as bad governance. And then the attitude of the government is to respond like they responded in similar situations in the past, threatening, engaging sought to blackmail, and a minister, which is why we are reporting that Nigeria may actually be in steady decline into authoritarianism and totalitarian governance. The minister in charge of Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria is describing the youth who will be marching on the street in an expected peaceful demonstration. He is calling them armed robbers. And this particular minister, who goes by the name Yesin Wike, is supposed to be a lawyer, but nobody knows if he has ever practiced or has ever entered any law court, handling litigation, prosecution, or anything. But he has a notoriety for stoking troubles, heightening tension within the polity, and this is no exception. He is into sexist objectivization. Sometimes he's been on record for attacking a female lawmaker, a senator of the Federal Republic, asking her to go hug transformer, and now the youth are demanding legitimate reforms. And through Yesin Wike, the prism has emerged that the government in Nigeria may do what it has notoriously what it has notoriously done in the past: turn guns, ammunitions made for the territorial integrity of Nigeria, for the protection of the country against external aggression and threat, would want to use such guns and weapons, turn them against the country's ever active and articulate youths and citizens. And the right to protest is constitutionally guaranteed and protected in Nigeria. Would Bola Tinubu disengage himself from the dogs of war in his cabinet? Would he do what is needful, allow for a peaceful protest, and possibly even march with the youths who are asking for reforms? Or is he going to listen to the threat and cooked up intelligence reports from the Department of State Services, or as the case may be, SSS, State Security Service? Listen to the false intelligence provided by the Inspector General of Police in Nigeria, and all kinds of surreptitious and questionable movements, including the so-called National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, dissociating themselves and condemning the upcoming peaceful protest. Whatever it is, Tinubu has an opportunity to write his own name on the canvas of history as a progressive, reform-minded individual who will not be pushed around into bloodshed or bloodletting. In this case, that of Nigeria's beleaguered and tired citizens. That is an aspect of our report tonight. We quickly cap it with uh, the events that will be unfolding in the law court in Akure, Ondo State tomorrow, I Court 3, where the Council of Chiefs of Ayede Ogbese Kingdom will be responding to the concocted and contrived depositions and affidavits on which they are, on which they are relying to ask the Honorable Justice there to give maximum power to the Lisa, the #1 ranking kingmaker in the kingdom, giving maximum power to install, supervise, and do all kinds of things to please the Jezebel who masquerades as a queen consort around the community, around the kingdom. Lisa, alongside the daughter of Jezebel Olufunmilayo, a supposed Oluyede Olori, they have approached the law court to grant them their prayers to be in total control of the community and even force themselves on us as the regent of the vacant stool of Ayede Ogbese. And the council has responded through their well-briefed attorney. We are sued. The Council of Chiefs, of course, I'm the second ranking member of the Council of Chiefs. We are sued alongside the governor of Ondo State, Governor Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa, and the State Honorable Commissioner of Chieftaincy and Local Government Affairs. And we intend to respond fiercely and responsibly as we should, and logically and rationally. We are not threatened, and we have the solidarity of the Oluyede royal family and everybody in the community. So we will tackle Lisa in court tomorrow. And the slide that the Lisa title belongs to the Fajen Bimo household exclusively, which is a lie. There had been a Lisa Aga in the community in 1941. So where he has this exclusive thing, because the same way I cannot claim exclusivity in terms of who becomes Odokwetu, it could come to Abitogun family, it could also rotate to Fashanu family. So long about Ayede Ogbese Kingdom's affair. But the community is rising in unison and asking people like Abike Dabiri, the Archbishop of Ondo Archdiocese, or the Bishop of Akure Diocese, His Grace, Most Reverend Simeon Borokini, to stay out of the affairs of Ayede Ogbese community. And they're asking Tunde Jordan-led Christ Chapel International to leave our community alone, especially through his proxy, Pastor John. We want peace and we don't want any trouble with anybody. They should respect our tradition. This is what this is about. And finally, on our special report, the marginalization of Usho people continues to attract concern and objection from every known responsible opinion leader and ordinary citizens. So all around, Nigeria is under siege at Usho. The second ranking royal stool in our local government, it was relegated by the late Arakuni Odunayo Akeredolu, the then governor of Ondo State. He was being vindictive, trying to avenge or be vengeful about events of 1965 in which Usho people were massacred. He has elevated every obscure and innocuous royal stool in our local government, leaving Usho. People with a dialect or language that has affinity with that of a mainland Akure to be in limbo. So this last weekend, your descendants, sons and daughters, met in Baltimore, Maryland, United States of America, and they served notice that this will no longer be taken lying low. It is not compulsory that people should be in our local government if they are not going to be respected as an ancient kingdom. But they must be respected. They must be elevated to the first class stool that the king deserves. And finally, there is nothing bad with the idea of being given an LCDA of its own. These are not too big to ask for in a country that must protect the dreams and aspirations of all and sundry. Our special report this week. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Thank you so much. Right now, we're going to get into some trendy news around the world. We'll be right back. All right, let's listen to this short video and then we'll talk, bring us up to speed on Trump and Kamala Harris related news. Let's do that.
I think she's a worse candidate than him. She's far more radical left. She is younger. I mean, she's 60 years old. A lot of people, I didn't realize she was 60. I thought she was a little younger, but she's 60. She is talking a big game, but her game is pretty bad. I mean, she was the border czar. She's trying to pretend that she wasn't. You know, it's an amazing thing that's happened too, because we did a long time ago.
It's an evolution, Mr. President, that yes, she was more progressive in 2020, but that she's moved to the middle on a number of these issues, and they're making a concerted effort to show kind of a new Kamala 2.0.
In politics, when you start off saying something, that's where you are. And she was for defund the police. She was for open borders. She was for having anybody come in. Now I notice that they're actually saying they want to have immunity for everybody that came into the country, and they want to have citizenship.
She said that, and she said that she knows that Kamala Harris, she assumes Kamala Harris would support that. That means citizenship for 10.
All right, let's stop it right there. Your thoughts are?
Yeah, I think former President Donald Trump is already putting himself on trial because being reminded that Kamala Harris, as our vice president, has changed position over time, become more centrist, moved away from extreme liberalism to keeping a moderate views, which I don't even know why she should want to make that shift. I don't see anything wrong with her position, really. But former President Donald Trump insisting that whatever, that does not matter, whatever she has always professed to, should be what she is. So if we use the same mayor, it therefore means that
I was about to ask that. Can we use
Donald Trump is incapable of changing in his character, and really, we don't even need to look too far. This was the same Donald Trump that was a bit sober the other day, having survived an unfortunate assassination attempt on his life, and he came back so sober, so subdued, and was a good altar boy. And now, a few days after, he said he would be mean. So people thought, oh, here is a more
a more human Donald Trump.
A more humane Donald Trump. They miscalculated because he himself has said he will return to his original mean old man. And that said, whatever Kamala Harris has ever portrayed herself to be, whether in utterance or in action or in character, do not compare with the startling revelation that we got through the 922 page Project 2025. That
Tell us about that. Tell us about Project 2025.
Yeah, Project 2025 basically talks of the takeover and turning upside down, like using a bunker buster, kind of 400, maybe 4,000 pound helium bomb to change our way, our DNA as Americans, the way we have always been, touching on and reversing everything that has always been the gains of reforms in this country, including that civil rights that you and I take for granted. Through the Heritage Foundation that has worked assiduously for close to 50 years, from what they themselves have said, espoused. They've been working on this since the time of former President Ronald Reagan. And what they try to do is to make sure that, like one of them, an ideologue with extreme and dark and sinister mind, was suggesting that they would sack everybody from middle level in America's civil service, public service, a huge purge that is coming, a deluge of that, and then substitute them with everybody that is a Donald Trump devotee, a MAGA individual. So, top to bottom, they have a radical vision of imposing on America extreme male Christian agenda. But their Christianity is different from what you and I from Africa know. It's completely different. This one is an hegemonic agenda that is almost similar to what you find under Adolf Hitler in 1939 to 1945 Germany. This is the vision that Donald Trump is working on. So, if such a person is now questioning the ideology of Vice President Harris that wants full freedom, because part of the Project 2025 thing is that women must restrict themselves to childbearing and kitchen, nothing other than that. So this is not just an agenda that seeks to roll back stuff on race relations. Of course, part of what they are saying is that it is going to be white ethno-centric thing. The white male domination that must be the in thing in the Donald Trump kingdom that they seek to install here. So, who is more dangerous between Kamala Harris and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? And finally, let us be grateful tonight for what President Joe Biden unbundled, what he unveiled about 3.5 hours ago, whereas he said, and he has proposed 3 core amendments to the Constitution. 1, no president would act with impunity as against what the Supreme Court, leaning on ideology and political conviction, ruled the other day. President Biden is introducing an amendment. And remember, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives said this will be dead on arrival, Biden is retorting that it is the thought that this will die on arrival that will die inside that speaker. Number two, in that order, the term or the years that will be served by a Supreme Court judge in the United States will now be tenured. You don't sit there ad infinitum. You are not going to be in office as a judge for eternity until somebody dies. No. He said America is not going to go for that anymore. And finally, beyond reasonability, their attempt at being beholden to certain interests, people that you will look at as being deep-pocketed, buying favors from Supreme Court, as has happened in the case of Clarence Thomas. Joe Biden is rising to the occasion and stamping his legacy firmly as one of the best accomplished presidents that America has ever produced. Is saying no. You are not going to, no Supreme Court judge, or no judge, like for that matter in America, will be given executive jet rides, treated to lavish holiday in Russia, and all those nonsense that some Supreme Court justices have been known to. So these are interesting times in America. And as the marketer-in-chief of the core message in these election campaigns for the Democratic Party, I think Donald Trump would not be a big match. He's never going to be a match for Kamala Harris. So all those things he says, he likes to, to treat himself to some good times. Can you imagine the state of mind of somebody like this who would even pick squabbles with the fact that Vice President Harris likes to laugh? Look at the attack from his vice presidential peak, mocking and tongue lashing people who are not fortunate to have children. Who thinks like this? So, where we are presently in America is that, like you and I agreed the other day, these are exciting times, and I'm really eager, and I'm watching. And does it occur to you that Kamala Harris has raised well over $200 million in the last 231 million. That is a landmark. So, like she has said, Donald Trump should bring it on.
So 1 week into this, do you feel like they made that Joe Biden made the right decision?
Oh, yes. Initially, I didn't like the idea of him dropping out of the race. But where we are now, I told you last week, either way, whether he continued as an 81 or 82-year-old man in the race, it would have been an event of history. But even out of it, setting the agenda and making sure that his vice receives the baton and keeps the race and builds on that momentum, that is even a greater thing still for a statesman like Joe Biden.
All right. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Let me do some quick shout out. Shout out to Elizabeth Matayo. May God deliver Nigeria from the hands of the evil captors called government. Not to say it's Chief greetings.
I say amen. I say amen.
Not to say Chief greetings, sir. Miss Elizabeth came back and said, what is the intention of this so-called Olori to impose herself as? That's an interesting question. But anyway, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Let everybody else know we're here. Yeah, we'll be back in about 20 seconds. All right, great. Let's listen to this short video, and now we'll be back.
The Dangote refinery and other local refineries in NAIRA and not in dollars. The chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, National Petroleum Company, of the Federal Executive Council has directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to sell crude oil to Dangote refinery and other local refineries in NAIRA and not in dollars. The chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, disclosed this after this week's Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu. TNUBU News State House correspondent Femi Akode reports.
President Tinubu's directive on the sale of crude oil in Naira may be the best reform introduced in the oil and gas sector in a long time. Petrol consumers will soon begin to enjoy a stable pump price regime that is no longer dictated by the unstable foreign exchange market.
The pressure on foreign exchange rates today will be reduced. Today, you may be aware that we spend roughly 30 to 40% of our foreign exchange today on importation of PMS that we consume.
Also, as part of the Tinubu administration's efforts to bring relief to Nigerians, Council approved a one-off purchase of a set of...
All right, is this a plus?
Certainly, it will be a plus, but please, because I know the sensitivity of using materials, copyright materials from a TVC. Please, we are doing this for the purposes of education. We do not in any way intend to infringe on your copyright on the borrowed clip. Again, emphasis. So thank you, Ola. Yes, if this will be done with sincerity of purpose, why not? At least all of us have been concerned about the over-dollarization, not just mere dollarization, the over-dollarization of the Nigerian economy. And it does not happen elsewhere like that, businesses or transactions, domestic transactions, will not be done through the designated unit of exchange, the currency in the country, and in this particular case, Naira. Now, from what people are suspected, this may not really be an easy objective, but President Bola Tinubu has spoken, has given directive as the commander-in-chief and the president, and don't forget that he is the substantive petroleum minister, the oil minister in Nigeria.
Is he? I thought I was just Buhari. He came and did the same thing.
I do not know this thing about, the attraction about this. The last time that anybody, I think Obasanjo started the game. I don't know if Sani Abacha ever had a substance. I think he did. Sani Abacha did. Babangida had a substantive oil minister. And Buhari, in his first incarnation as a militocrat, military head of state, also had the late professor of virology, Tam David West, as the oil minister. So, but since the advent of this democracy in 1999 in Nigeria, it's been the sitting presidents that have always held the portfolio of petroleum ministers. So this is no exception. But the point I'm making here is that the NNPC has outstanding, Nigeria as a country has outstanding contracts with different interests all over the world, taking loans and using Nigeria's CRUDE projection as collateral or staking that as promised over time. So we don't even know if today we'll say we produce over 1.2, 1.4 million barrels per day. We don't know if more than 800,000 barrels of that has been pledged concerning some outstanding debt. Do not forget the one that was pledged against $3 billion loan to African Export Bank the other day. That one is still there. So far, Nigeria must have assessed close to 1.5 billion in terms of the loans that we took. We still need more money to come from them to stabilize the system. But the point we're making here is that, so if Dangote goes there now, with this promise, with this commitment coming from President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, and says, oh, it's now been said, you have been directed to give me crude, and this is my NAIRA. What if those people say, oh, not too fast, brother, because already we have commitments to supply certain people that we took money from in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, what I've always suspected to be behind this, and I was discussing with a senior Nigerian editor today, somebody who reports for the Nation newspaper, my good friend Unduka Chejine in Abuja. See, what we all agreed on happens to be that some people will be in trouble already, especially the cabal that used to benefit from importation of refined petroleum products into Nigeria. These are the people that are doing everything possible to undermine the initiatives, the investments of Mr. Aliko Dangote. So if these people are able to contain their greed and their unpatriotic zeal, especially the man who opened his buccal cavity recklessly the other day to denigrate and rubbish the refined products from a Dangote refinery, the man in charge of a downstream, mainstream, whatever, of the Ahmed of the petroleum industry. If such people can be contained, and I don't know why they are still being kept there, such economic saboteurs, they have no business hanging around Bola TINUBU, and we continue to warn TINUBU, whether it's in terms of prejudice, in terms of issues of politics in the country, and all these spent forces. You don't inherit other people's baggage. Let them go. Release them, let them go. And you can focus on proper nation building. The same way, TINUBU has an hang on like a wiki describing genuine aggrieved Nigerians. Who talks down on, tell me anywhere in the world that people want to protest and then you begin to dehumanize them and call them names. TINUBU should give that kind of executive order he has issued concerning oil concession, crude concession for Dangote. He should issue the same thing in terms of, he should rely on the advice of his medical teams to give executive order for the brain of Wike to be examined. I don't know why Wike is in that cabinet, that he will be calling Nigerian citizens names, calling Nigerian youth armed robbers. So Nigeria has come to this, has degenerated to this level that people will talk recklessly, whether it is Ahmed in a downstream sector of the petroleum industry or Wike. There are people who are who have a psychotic issues that should be dropped from this cabinet. But I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm just talking based on mere suspicion that there is some trouble, some troubles with the workings of the mind of people like Wike and that Ahmed of a man. So, if this will help Nigeria to stabilize in terms of domestic oil consumption and possible reduction in price, because the other day when Dangote rolled out diesel, yes, there was tangible effect in terms of the pricing of the commodity. And that same thing may happen concerning petroleum. What I would suggest in this case is that it's not only enough to have crude allocation for Dangote. Let Dangote also be given the opportunity, because I've traveled extensively in Togo and Benin Republic and some other African countries. They have serious trouble of refined petroleum products distribution and the access or accessibility. Let Dangote be given licenses to build gas stations all over the entire sub-region, and then whatever profit is made from that can be used to subsidize the consumption pattern of Nigerians. After all, you don't have enough orchard or grow orchard of oranges, and then you begin to suck on the sour type. No. Nigerians deserve the best.
Thank you. To your last point there, I have to agree with you. They must, over the long term, focus on building better intrinsic value around Nigeria economy. I think in the short term, I think the NAIRA thing and the dependency on foreign exchange can help a lot.
Oh yes, when we withdraw a bit back from over-dollarization of the economy, NAIRA itself would appreciate, and that in itself would devolve on the buoyancy that the economy requires.
Right. But over the long term, Nigeria needs to continue to work on its intrinsic value.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the major issue.
You see, the macroeconomic fundamentals of this are not even far removed from our linguistic consciousness. There, when the Yoruba says "asho alasho ni ọ̀gá ń gbàbọ̀ra owó olówó legun ná," you see, build gas stations all over West African sub-region. Whatever profit is made from that is enough to subsidize the consumption pattern of
That's a good point.
Yeah. So we don't need to speak too much big grammar at times. Let us be inward looking. Check on our linguistic values, and then you find appropriate responses to all this. Too many of our leaders there, they speak big grammar that are detached.
Big grammar.
Right from the days of Nnamdi Azikiwe and Awolowo, they will speak big grammar. Okay, nonsense. You must speak the language of the common people.
Right. So I saw a rumor earlier on TikTok. It's probably just a rumor that there was a company. I think it's a company in Malta that was supposed to.
That they said that belongs to Ohando.
Yeah, they said belongs to TINUBU.
Ohando. Well, I don't know if TINUBU himself has stakes in Ohando, but there is this TINUBU is related to him. I've forgotten his first name now. That runs Ohando. But
the owner of Ohando. Okay.
Okay, is it not laughable that Bayo Nanuga, presidential spokesperson, would stoop to the level of reacting to things ascribed to Ohando? Bayo Nanuga should look for more serious things that will occupy his time. He's a respected older colleague.
Is it the media specialist person of TINUBU's?
Yes, one of the media handlers. But he dabbles into things that he should not even talk about. Ohando is accused of doing something. We don't know if it is true or not. Why should the Nigerian presidency spokesperson or the president's media advisor be the person reacting to that? Why don't they leave Ohando to the business of reacting to issues that are ascribed to it? You know, this is how bad and how overzealous all these presidential media assistants advisor. And this is how you see. like Yorubas will say, Oyinbo muti, otin pa kuku. The white man is the one that is consuming alcohol now, but the cook, the African cook in the kitchen, is the one that is acting drunk. What nonsense?
Oh, only cuckoo. Okay, okay,
Cook,
okay.
the cook.
I got it.
Yeah, that is what
Yeah.
Yorubas call kuku.
Cuckoo. All right. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow so you're notified whenever we go live. We'll be right back in about 20 seconds. All right, welcome back. Let's talk a little bit more about this protest of a thing. There are travel warnings being issued for Nigeria, even from the US, I think from Canada, from UK. There's a special report somewhere here. It says United States, United Kingdom, and Canada issued travel warnings for Nigeria ahead of planned protests over economic hardship and rising costs. The UK Foreign Office said there was a risk of unrest from July 29 through August 10th and noted that past protests have turned violent with little warning. The Canadian government also warned that the protests would turn violent at any time. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Abuja advised American citizens to avoid crowds and demonstrations. Why are Nigerians protesting? Nigeria is experiencing its worst cost of living crisis in a generation. In June, inflation hit a record high of 34.19%, while food inflation rose to more than 40.87%, according to Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics. Activists have called for 10 days of protest nationwide to begin on Thursday under the banner #EndBadGovernance. I know you've mentioned in this particular episode of the SharpEdge News TV live about the protest. Can you give us tell us what's going on? #EndBadGovernance. They are asking for who is organizing it, the DSS or DDS or SSS, what they call them, DSS. They are asking for who is organizing it. So there are parts of people
Why
that you
should
would
they
expect.
why would they be asking such that kind of question? Why? And the DSS is adopting the operational mode of the Gestapo, almost behaving like a KGB, the ruthless KGB in Russia, and the minders of Kim Jong-un in North Korea, or what you find in China, the one that led to the massacre of youth protesting in places like Red Square and all the troubled spots of the world. For example, apart from what all these intelligence chiefs are saying, I've even seen some media managers and senior editors in Nigeria who come on national television to insult the collective intelligence of our citizens. That what the youth are planning, what Nigerian folks are planning in terms of peaceful protests will not happen in Rwanda. Kigame's Rwanda. That you dare not get. It's a subtle way of suggesting to the government to become so dastardly and draconian. I do not know what has come upon some journalists in Nigeria these days. People who were heroes of the return to democracy in Nigeria. Now they have turned to something else. They cannot even be trusted with the sacred mandate of keeping power in trust on behalf of the people. So what is going on with this is that nobody is faceless. For example, I'm here because of the attitude of the Nigerian government. Now I'm even cautious on how I send financial support to my folks in Nigeria, because before you know it, you are tagged, and you are mischaracterized as somebody who is funding unrest in Nigeria. This is where these people are taking us. And if anybody is going to be in denial about the state of the Nigerian economy, that would be a shameful thing. That would be an irresponsible thing. I'm supposed to be a legally blind man. I mean, in Nigeria, most blind people walk the streets carrying bowls, begging for alms, and what have you. Here, I live here. Even as a blind man, I know from the beginning of this month to where we stand today, I've sent in support more than 1 million naira to folks in Nigeria. And to think that I was not even, or people like me or you, were not, we were not responsible for bringing the present government into office. But now that the users are coming out of the entire situation, that hunger is in the line, where do our people resort to? They make endless calls to folks like you and I overseas. And when we try to even talk, they try to label us agents of foreign governments, which is the irresponsible reaction, the reactionary attitude of the government of the day in Nigeria. They have looked for reasons, sponsors of this protest, as if they don't even read, as if they don't make research. The good lady, the distinguished senator, a blind woman in Kenya the other day, challenged the reasoning, the critical thinking process of the government, the people in government in Kenya. She said, "Oh, you are looking to track the sponsors of the protest in Kenya. You won't find any. The people, I mean, what's it called? The issues sponsoring, triggering all these things will be hunger in the land, unemployment, the troubled times in which we live, kidnapping, Boko Haram. People like the Olori in my own kingdom in Ondo State, that kind of ineptitude, the misconduct, abuse of office, the attitude of people like Jason Wike, who would dress in 400,000 fedora hat, wearing super designer wear to taunt Nigerians, who would be advised, to spend the people's money responsibly, and they would tell a sitting senator to go and hug the transformer. People like Akpabio, the Senate president in Nigeria, that would talk down in a condescending way on a female senator. Oh, this is not a clubhouse. You know, that attitude that shows that these people do not care, laissez-faire, and then they can spend money. They don't even patronize the vehicles that are made by innocent in Nigeria, homegrown goods. They have this insatiable taste and greed for foreign products. And then look at what they have turned university female students to in Nigeria. Like people that provide escort services. Is that where Nigeria should be? And then look at the steady decline. We have described that of oil sector in Nigeria. Look at where Nigeria is. The largest economy in Africa before now has now become the 6th largest economy. And the downward spiral continues. These are the things stoking it. And so if these various embassies and foreign missions in Nigeria are cautioning on where people should go, I do not also think that that is good enough, because some of them gave this ill-timed and wrong-headed advice to the government of Nigeria, the Bretton Woods institutions, IMF, World Bank, the International Financial Corporation, all of them. They do not know, they do not know, or they pretend about the Financiers, the things they recommend for African countries, the solutions to African unique economic situations. And then they failed to address the greed of the contemporary African elected leaders. Nobody is talking about that. Nobody is talking about the jumbo pay for senators and what have you. The one that I do not seem to agree with is the call for TINUBU to resign. No, I may not agree with that, but then it's a call. They should sit down with the planners, but to begin to want to use Gestapo approach, want to elect the class captains, come and put down the names of people who are stoking trouble. What nonsense is that? That's not how to govern a nation. TINUBU should free himself from all this. The other day, Ndume said he's been held hostage. That is an hostage of power. They moved against Ndume. There have been times when I did not approve of the tactics of Ndume. But in this instance, Ndume was cautioning them that this man has become an hostage of certain individuals in the villa. What was the reaction? They removed him as the minority Senate, what's it called? As the chief whip of the Senate. That shouldn't have been the reaction. Now, Nigerians are saying they want to go on the street. They started organizing all kinds of irresponsible reactionary elements to come on the stage, to denounce, to reject, to distance themselves from the protest. Would that stop whatever is going on? I suspect this is a government that is preparing and getting excited to kill and shed blood, to kill innocent citizens. Look at Nance. Nance is dissociating itself from the troubles of Nigerian citizens. Anyway, Nance is no longer what it used to be. And all these people that got elected into the leadership of Nance, someday there will be moments of accountability, but the government must provide protection for the peaceful protesters. We knew and we documented effectively and into details what happened during the NSAS thing, how elements, ethnic jingoists, were recruited to counter protesters at Akpo village, and how they destroyed businesses owned by individuals from other parts of Nigeria. They almost fostered a civil war in Nigeria during the NSAS thing. In Lagos as well. And look at the so-called Iyaloja General of Lagos, Tinubu's daughter. The father was elected president. Which one is her own? Now she started putting her mouth in businesses that do not concern her. And she was granted free access to the use of Eagle Square. And now they are saying the Take It Back group and any other person coming to Eagle Square should come and pay.
She's the princess.
When some of us were in Abuja, hot sun,
she's the princess.
baking sun. You said what?
You said we was our own. I said she's the princess. I was asking
princess of what? Is it supposed to be an imperial presidency? Is Tinubu an elected Kabiyesi, for God's sake? What is this sense of entitlement? They are just rubbishing the sophistication of the Nigerian presidency. All of them talk at the same time. It's either Sheyi is talking, it's either Oluomo is talking, and all of them. Tinubu is the one that is elected into office, and this rubbish about Yoruba presidency, this and that. It is Nigerian presidency. The man belongs to all of us. They should stop trying to diminish his what's it called? His reach. They should stop doing this nonsense. And these people must be protected, and the world must watch. America, Canada, and Great Britain, all the international communities, countries of the world should not just issue advisory saying their citizens must be careful. They should also begin to keep a list of Nigerian principal actors. If they kill Nigerian citizens during this protest, the international community must hold them responsible. They did it the other time during the NSAS. They got away with it. Nobody must get away with the killing of innocent Nigerian or Nigerians now. Nobody. So, If
Thank you
Nigeria
so
must be a
much.
true democracy, that right, the right to dissent, the right to peaceful protest must be protected. It must be, I mean, it is guaranteed already in the Constitution. It must be protected. They don't even need to apply to the police to get this done. Just that everything must be peaceful. All of
Yeah.
them doing this. I was there as a reporter the day, what's his name? Adams Oshomole, the former chairman of APC, former governor of Edo State, former, now a member of the Senate. I was there when he was leading Labour Congress as he climbed on the bonnet of the car of a Benmore Bruce, and he bruised that man as the Director General of NTA, asking him, you are asking for Nigeria Labour Congress to come and pay before their adverts can be run. How much did you collect from the presidency before you ran their own advert? The same elements are running Nigeria today. You see the moral hypocrisy in all these people?
Hypocrisy, yeah.
It's moral hypocrisy. And this is why Nigerians continue to hold them to account. But you know, this is about the character of each of us. If I were in TINUBU's position, I would even march with them. I would march. Didn't you see Joe Biden marching alongside the auto workers the other day in America? Did you not see Joe Biden doing it? Joe Biden worked with auto workers when they went on strike. Vice President Harris too was there. It was only Donald Trump that started condemning the whole thing. Because these people are anti-union, they are anti-freedom. And who is anybody to want to hold in bondage somebody that God has already given freedom? So, Nigerians are liberated souls, and they have the right to march and demand that they should be given good government.
So, just to leave us with this, just FYI, because there's a lot of questions around. We don't know who is organizing it. Even honestly, the Honorable San Femi Falana was asking that question on one of the shows too, right? The protests have been, according to this report on DW.com, the protests have been organized by a broad coalition of civil society groups.
Almost more than 26 of them.
Right. Both supporters and opponents of the protests have drawn comparison with recent protests in Kenya against the plan to raise taxes on essential goods. The Premium Times newspaper reported that some protesters have already begun blocking major roads in the capital on Monday. Now, police on alert. Authorities have urged young people to stay away from the protests. Police cracked down heavily on the last major protest, the End SARS demonstration in 2020. And I quote, while citizens have the right to peaceful protest, they do not have the right to mobilize for anarchy or unleash terror. That's the defense spokesperson.
So who defines anarchy?
Buba.
Those are extreme words from the defense spokesperson. You know, you don't engage your citizens as if you are engaging. I didn't see this kind of rhetoric from them the other day. The Nigerian military brats were intimidating TINUBU now. I didn't see them speak like this.
Yeah.
You know,
so
when you're engaging your citizens, you have to be extremely civil.
As your last word for today, what's your advice for the young people?
Yeah, my last word is this.
Protest.
My last word for today is that TINUBU should please extricate himself, distance himself from people who would want to deliberately mislead him, and get his hand soaked in the blood of innocent citizens. And let us also caution, all eyes are on them, and all cameras must be active now. I suspect these people may want to shoot at somebody like Omoyele Sowore. They will want to shoot on the other active participants. God forbid that this thing that government will take any action that is so insensitive that ultimately would lead to unintended consequences. Something is called peaceful protest. Let it be peaceful and completely civil. Leave the youth alone. to vent
Protect
their
them.
yeah,
Make sure it's
give
safe
them
for them
protection.
to exercise
Simple.
their rights.
Enough of this bloodletting, enough of bloodshed in Nigeria. For goodness sake. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We want to say thank you for being here to support today's show. Not to well done, I see you. Thank you. And shout out to Miss Elizabeth Omotayo. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Hopefully
all.
you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.